welcome. We're hosting this webinar in partnership with Evolution Recruitment Solutions. And today we're joined by Pagan and by Tom. So Pagan and Tom are here to help you understand what it's like to work in recruitment as a career and also what it's like to work at Evolution. So we're going to be having quite an informal conversation, and I and Pagan are going to be asking each of the questions just to understand a little bit more about why Evolution is a good choice for you as a graduate, what the role's about, and hopefully kind of bust some of those myths that you may have heard about working in recruitment as well. So in terms of introductions, my name's Kate. I work in the careers team and I'll be facilitating and asking some of the questions to Pagan. Pagan is actually one of our alumni as well. So Pagan studied with us at Edge Hill in studying business management, which is I think graduated a few years ago now. And then we've also been joined by Tom as well, who is now a senior recruit consultant at Evolution and studied English language here at Edge Hill as well. So we can both give you a really honest account about what it's been like for them to transition from graduation into a career in recruitment at Evolution. Okay, so thank you both so much for your time here today. So I'm going to start first, Pagan, if that's okay, just asking you a few questions.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, Pagan, who are Evolution? If you can explain that to me.
Yeah, so Evolution are a tech recruitment business. We're based in Birchwood in Warrington, and we have overseas offices in Australia, Singapore, and Germany, and we've just opened up an office in the USA last month as well, which is really exciting.
Brilliant, fantastic, lovely. And the nearest branch to our university is Warrington, isn't it? So that'd be probably where the successful graduates would be based if they wanted to apply to work with you. And that's where you're both based, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, amazing, lovely. And then obviously, when you kind of, our students and graduates are exploring careers, there are a lot of recruitment roles advertised, there are a lot of roles out there, and often our students will come to us and say, I've seen this role, but I'm not sure. I've heard it's really kind of stressful, long hours, and so on. But can you kind of just outline what is recruitment as a career and just try and explain, really what somebody would do as a graduate recruitment consultant?
Yeah, so I suppose the way I usually like to describe recruitment to people is we're essentially the middle person in between a company that's looking to hire. So we call them our clients, and people who are looking for jobs. They're our candidates. Our job is to kind of identify the needs of both our clients and our candidates and match make the two. So, being a tech recruitment business, just to put that into context, we focus on placing top IT professionals into roles with our clients.
Brilliant. That's amazing. Thank you. And why is it such a good career choice for graduates? Why would it make sense for them to step into that
Yeah,
when they finish their degree?
yeah. I think recruitment's an amazing career for graduates. It provides you with so many opportunities, the training, the progression, earnings is something that's I suppose unrivaled when compared to a lot of other graduate opportunities. Um, we provide extensive training at the start of your career and throughout as well, which is very thorough. It teaches you all aspects of recruitment and the market that you'd be working within. Everything's laid out really clearly. Exactly what you need to do to achieve your next promotion as well. Path for progression takes you from trainee to management all the way up to directorship. And the best thing about it is, you're not waiting for anyone to leave to get your next promotion or to kind of, progress themselves. As soon as you kind of hit your target, you'll automatically be promoted. And there's so many examples of people who've joined us as trainees and progressed into leadership and director roles. To give you an idea, we promoted 45 people just in our office alone last year as well. Um, and just to kind of like address the earnings as well, you get paid a basic salary, which is based upon experience, and this is increased in line with the progression structure as well as getting the uncapped commission on top.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, that's great. Brilliant. Thank you so much. And I suppose again, we see so many recruiters, so many agencies looking for recruitment consultants. What is it about Evolution? I know you touched on the training and the progression, which is great. Is there something that kind of really stands out for Evolution, and why should a student choose Evolution as an
Yeah,
employer?
yeah. I think there are a lot of negative perceptions around recruitment and the industry. Won't lie, it has a really bad reputation for heavy cold calling, unrealistic targets, KPIs up to your ears. But Evolution has a much more forward-thinking approach and does a lot of things differently to most other recruiters. So again, to kind of give you an idea of how we do that, we build relationships with our clients through innovative content-led and community-led methods such as podcasts and webinars, building the brand of our recruiters, genuinely getting to know our clients and focusing on building those long-lasting relationships means that we're the preferred option when they come to hire. And I think another thing that makes Evolution stand out is the training as well and investment that we give to all employees, not only when they start but continually throughout our careers. The business purpose is to help people realise their potential, and don't just take my word for it. Our investors in people accreditation proves that we're doing just that as well. For those who might not know, just put it into context, investors in people, it's an external body that audits companies, assesses their level of training and investment that's being provided to employees. And we were one of the first companies globally to achieve the platinum status for the investors in people, which puts us in the top 2% of companies as well.
Brilliant. Oh, that's
Yeah.
great. Lovely. And I think as well, I know you're recruiting at the moment, and obviously we can talk about that a little bit at the end, but I think in terms of number of opportunities as well, I think you've projected to kind of recruit a certain number, aren't you, over the coming year, just into the Warrington office alone in terms of new consultants?
Yeah, we're looking to hire an additional 40 people
Yeah,
to
brilliant.
the head count. Yeah, and we're about halfway there now, growing massively. Yeah.
Brilliant. Hopefully you've got
So
enough
plenty of
seats.
opportunities. Yeah.
Yeah. Got enough space there. Oh, that's
Yeah.
brilliant. So yeah, it's just to give our students that may be watching this a bit of an idea of actually, it's not just one role that they're all going to be going for. There's plenty of opportunity there for them, which is
Yeah,
absolutely
definitely.
brilliant.
Mhm.
Perfect. And just we mentioned about earnings and obviously progression and kind of like the structure of commission. Somebody kind of who joins you as a graduate, what do you think realistically, and I know it will vary, but realistically they could kind of earn maybe in the first few years that they're with you?
Yeah. So again, big benefit of working within recruitment is the commission potential is uncapped, but I suppose to give kind of like those realistic earnings, first year most people can expect to earn around the 30 to 40k mark. Second year earnings around 40 to 50, and just to kind of give you the first 3 years, third year you can expect between 60 and 80. Again, some people have surpassed that, but it's kind of just to give you an idea of the overall, average
Yeah.
earnings, but top performers of the business are earning in excess of six figures again.
Yeah.
So yeah, not bad.
Yeah, sky's the limit if it's the right thing for you. Brilliant,
Yeah.
lovely. Thank you so much for that. And then I think, Peggy, you're going to ask Tom some questions as well. So Tom can kind of talk to us about his career journey and his experience of working in evolution. So I'll kind of mute myself and just disappear off camera, but I'll sit in the background and I'll let you kind of hand over and ask Tom those questions. Thank you.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kate. So I suppose, Tom, it'd be a good idea for you to kind of introduce yourself first and give everyone a bit of an overview of you.
Yeah. So my name is Thomas Lyon. I've been at Evolution now since April last year, so just over a year. I'm now a senior recruitment consultant. So I started off as a trainee and then became a consultant, then a consistent, then a senior back in February. So my kind of story behind how I got into recruitment. So having done English language at Jill, I was a bit unsure on what it was I wanted to do next. I wasn't very interested in pursuing teaching, and I wanted to move towards more like marketing. So my first full-time job was as an account exec, whereby I was managing multiple high-profile retail accounts. I didn't feel like I was progressing like the way I should have been, and I didn't really feel like my full potential was being utilized. So, I'd often been approached by recruiters in the past, and I didn't think it was a career for me, to be honest with you. I then began to consider like this path more and more. When I finally decided to make the move, I was approached by Evolution. The internal recruitment team had approached me from a different angle. So it was very different to most recruitment companies. They had focused on the training, the progression, and the culture, the rewards, and the salary. So the first kind of hook, if you will, was the training progression, more about a career opportunity. Was a lot of the time that you go on about these quite far-fetched numbers and potential earnings that you could bring out. So that approach actually stood out for me as it presented itself as a career opportunity that would support my growth for the long term.
Okay, brilliant. So I suppose, Tom, can you tell us a little bit about your team and the types of clients that you work with and the types of projects that you've worked on since you've been
Yeah.
here?
So I work in the NHS team, and we supply day rate contractors into the NHS. So it's a lot of project based stuff, door covers type work. So I've worked with multiple NHS organisations during my time here at Evolution. I've worked on projects such as assisting a NHS trust implement a new EPR system, which is basically an IT clinical system that enables hospital records to be digitised, eliminating the need of storing them on paper. So it's quite a big thing at the moment. This transformation, it saves a lot of time, it saves a lot of space as well, and money in terms of in the long term. So it's something that you see every day but you don't actually think about. So you think about when you go into a hospital and your record gets pulled up, it's instant, it's on the database. So we're doing a lot of work at that at the moment. I've worked on projects involving business intelligence teams planning for like a new hospital build, or the care that needs to take place in a certain area in London specifically. That's what I do. I've worked on projects that enable NHS trusts to utilise data to improve patient care. I've worked on projects that have worked towards the vaccination programme and how they will be implemented efficiently. Even flu vaccination deployments, they'll get someone in to kind of assess what the needs will be. And then we also work on like business as usual projects. So, we might have a situation where someone's got maternity leave and they hired a contractor, or they just need someone to kind of help out if they've had like a sudden surge of work. But yeah, those are some of the things that I've worked on.
Okay, brilliant. Some exciting projects there. Okay, Brill. So I suppose you touched on training, progression, and salary. So I started with training. Tom, what was kind of training like for you, and how do you think it, prepared you for the role?
So the training program was intense. It was thorough, but it was intense. You embark on a program that's been designed to best prepare you for recruitment. You have two coaches that work with you day in and day out for around 6 to 9 weeks. It depends. You cover all aspects of the job as well as how to be successful in the job. It's a lot to take in, but the coaches are always on hand to, kind of revisit particular areas and to help develop skills and your knowledge even further. Towards the end of the program, you're slowly integrated into the team. So once you get integrated into the team, you'll start picking up on things that other people are doing around you and seeing the day-to-day job that people do. And you can just see how the team operates on a day-to-day basis. It's also kind of like gradually introducing you into the team, so you don't feel like you're far out and you feel like you can start contributing. So then you're also getting support from the coaches, but you're getting support from the team as well, which is good. The training is constantly ongoing, so the coaches are always on hand to offer support on the areas that you feel you need improvement. I'm a year in, I have regular training sessions to help me develop my career further. Recruitment's something that you're probably not going to master. It, it's
Constantly learning.
yeah, you're constantly learning. And I think one of the big things I'll say as well is that the best way I can describe it is learn to drive. So you can learn to drive, and you do theory and you do the practice, but you actually only start learning how to drive when you actually pass your test. And that's just like recruitment. You only start to learn properly when you actually get involved in the job. All these things set the foundations for you to learn, and so you can go off and do what you need to do, but you ultimately only start learning when you start doing the job. That's why obviously these gradually integrate you into the team. I said, and there's always programs that allow us to develop our management skills, which ultimately prepares us to take the next step into management, which kind of reinforces that idea that there is like kind of long-term development and long-term opportunity. A lot of time and money is spent on investing in individuals' development and ensuring that we are realising our full potential.
Yeah, brilliant. It's good to know that, I suppose, after your initial training, it never kind of stops as well.
Yeah.
So I suppose, in terms of kind of like the progression structure, you kind of talked a little bit about, how many promotions you've got, but it'd be helpful to kind of tell everyone, what the progression structure actually looks like, really.
Yeah, so the progression structure is clearly outlined from day one. It's something that's, very visible, very achievable. There's no glass ceiling effect here. You start as a trainee, you get given, targets in terms of, so it's laid out and they'll say, right, okay, you need to hit this to hit that promotion, you need to hit that promotion. And you don't essentially, in previous other jobs and other lines of work, you have to wait for someone to kind of move on for you to get promoted. It's not like that here. If you've done well, you get promoted, and you see that reflected in your pay, you see that reflected in your responsibilities as well. So you start as a trainee, then move to consultant, then to consistent consultant, to senior consultant, then principal consultant, then business manager and senior business manager. But there's also a slightly different path that you can take, so which incorporates managing other team members. So, once you get to business manager, they'll start to say to you, do you want to take on a team, or you don't have to take on a team, but like for me, I want to ultimately step into that management role. Where some people just want to carry on billing and focus on themselves, and the business is fine with that. They're happy to support you in either way. It's going to benefit you and benefit the business as well. So yeah, that's kind of like how the promotion works. So yeah.
Okay, brilliant. And I suppose, we talk about all the different steps you could take up the ladder, but how achievable are the promotions?
Very achievable. So, providing you put the work in, I'm not going to sit here and say, it's very easy and, it just comes, it doesn't, you have to put the work in. It is difficult, and you've put a lot of time and effort into it. There's times where, you work after hours because you're so hungry to get, to the next step, but it gets reflected. So what you put in is what you get out. So for instance, in my first year, so I started off as training in the end of April. I was promoted to a consultant in September, then promoted to consistent consultant in October, and I was promoted to senior consultant in the February. So within 9 months, I'd already gone to senior. Don't get me wrong, it was very hard. It was very busy, and I was still learning the job as well. So when I get these projects on, it took me a bit longer, and there was times where it was very, very difficult. But it was a lot. Sorry, I experienced a lot. I think it's very fast moving, and that's recruitment. It's very fast paced, especially in contract. So but ultimately, I reap the rewards from the work that I put in.
Yeah, no, brilliant. So speaking of those rewards, you said, what attracted you to recruitment was kind of like salary as well. So I
Yeah.
suppose, can you kind of tell us a little bit about, earning expectations in the first year, and I suppose a little bit more about how the commission kind of structure works, just to give everyone a bit of
Yeah, of
context?
course. So there's obviously two sides to the business. There's permanent and contracts. So I work in the contract business. So, um, you know, in recruitment in your first year, you could probably expect to do about between 30 and 40k in your first year, 35, 40k. I did just over 40k. So, that's my first year, which is I was really happy with. How the commission works. So in contract, you get a base salary which goes up with each progression as you move up in your position, but then you also get a commission at the end of the month. So how it works is you have a weekly book value. So that's the kind of margin you make on deals and the contractors you have running. And at the end of the month, that all that's been billed adds up, and then you get a percentage of that. So the way it works is it works on like kind of like the way tax works. Some of you might know that, some might not know, but basically, so and once you get your weekly book value added up and how much you build, for 0 to 5k, you get 7.5% of that. From 5 to 10k, you get 15% of that. And then from 10 to 20k, you get 17.5% of that. So it adds up on each level. And then you get 20 to 30k, 20%, 30 to 40k, 25%, and then 40k, you get 30% for that. And it is quite a bit confusing, but once you get your head around it, it is, it's easy to get your head around.
Yeah. Okay, brilliant. So I suppose, could you tell everyone a little bit about, the business in general, and your team culture as well?
Yeah, of course. So team culture is excellent. It's a big focus for the business. They reward our hard work. They organise events that allow us to bond with our team more. We have achievers trips. So if you do well in a quarter, you get put on the achievers. So we have 2 European trips, which will be for 2 nights. Then we have a global trip, which is 4 nights. Then we also have 2 events where we do an activity and then go for a meal. So recently I did axe throwing and then went for a meal in Manchester, and then back in last year, I went to Tenerife for 2 nights, which was great. And then we also have social events for the whole business, regardless of whether you're achieving or not. And we also actually have beer o'clock on a Thursday because everyone works from home Fridays. It used to be Friday, and now it's Thursday. But you can see that there's a massive kind of push on just kind of getting people out there, socializing, rewarding the work that we put in for the business, and just kind of like building that bond with other teams that you necessarily won't get because obviously you work with your team close on a day-to-day basis. In the morning, for instance, we have a team meeting to kick off the day. We update the team on where we're up to. We offer support where we can, and just kind of set ourselves up for the day. And again, just kind of reinforcing that we're supporting each other where possible. We then have a retro last thing on a Friday. So we reflect on the week, we see what went well, what didn't went well, kind of catch up on what we got planned for the weekend. And basically the coming out of recruitment is, sometimes it is a roller coaster, it goes up and down. But once you get to the end of the week, you just kind of say, right, that was that week, let's look to the new week, and you just kind of clean slate type thing. Which sometimes is good because, there is, like I said, there is highs, there is lows.
Yeah, no, fair enough. So speaking of the highs and lows, then, what do you think's been the biggest challenge since you started in the role?
I've got to say resilience. The biggest challenge, resilience. So this is a job where you think that you've done everything you can, but it still doesn't produce the outcome you wanted. Ultimately, dealing with people. So, you're not always going to get the answer that you want, the result that you want, but you've got to make sure you do everything right, and you've got to learn from what you do as well and see, right, okay, well, I didn't get the result, but what could I have done better? Sometimes, most of the time there's always something you could have done better, but a lot of the time, there isn't, and it's just one of those you have to kind of just push yourself off from it, move on, and go forward again.
Yeah, brilliant. I suppose, okay, on the flip side to that, what you love most about the role?
The endless possibilities. So I like that what this job's allowed in terms of freedom. So there's endless possibility in where I can develop myself further. These endless possibilities in my personal life as well, because it's given me opportunity to kind of move forward and progress with life in kind of be self-sufficient, if you will. Especially like for the way things are going at the moment, it's quite difficult. So yeah, I definitely say that.
Okay, brilliant. And what kind of skills do you think you've learned in the role so far?
So I'd say resilience. So even though that's the biggest challenge, resilience, I've learned a lot. So I've become much more resilient, and I think I've learned a lot about time management. I've learned organization. I've learned negotiation skills. I've learned how to, kind of be more assertive while I still remaining polite, and it's also given me confidence as well. And I think there's a lot of like general life skills that have kind of been developed in this job, which I then ultimately kind of put into my personal life. Things like problem solving, communication, and I think that's really, really good because, for instance, I just bought my first property, and some of the skills I've learned in this job allowed me to get the result in my first purchase of property, more efficiently. And I think, those things, if I hadn't been in this job, I probably wouldn't have been able to do it as well, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, so I suppose to summarize for everyone, what core skills do you think, make a good recruiter?
I think anything that I've just said in terms of like resilience, time management, organization, negotiation, being assertive. I think you've got to be very organized. You've got to be very driven. You've got to want to achieve. If you've not got the desire to succeed, then and you're not driven, then it's you won't succeed. It's not a job where you can kind of sit back and let things happen. You've got to be very proactive. You've got to be determined. And then again, like I said before, things might not go your way all the time, but you've got to kind of pick yourself up from that and be resilient, because otherwise it'd be hard to kind of come back in and move forward. It's a lot of like generic skills in terms of being like a strong person, and obviously a good problem solving ability as well.
Yeah. Okay, brilliant. So in terms of, recruitment stereotypes, and to address the elephant in the room, we touched upon it a little bit earlier, about, I suppose, the negative perceptions about recruitment, but I suppose, for what are your kind of like perceptions of recruitment before you started compared to, since you've joined?
So a big reason I didn't go into recruitment. I got approached by a few people like in my last days of uni, and when I came out of uni, and my negative perception was that everyone was kind of like out for themselves, be quite backstabbing, and be quite selfish, and I didn't want to work in a hostile working environment. That wasn't for me, and that's why I was ultimately turned it down. But then when Evolution approached me, and I could tell by their approach, it was a bit different. It was different to everyone else's approach. And it's not like that here. And a lot of people think I thought it was cutthroat as well. Again, it's not like that here. Some people don't do the first deal in months and months and months, and there's more of a seek to understand than a cutthroat. They want to see, okay, well, what you're doing, what's working well, what's not working well. Let's try this, and then see if you get results. And then they'll keep working with you because they obviously during the interview stage and application, they've seen something that they think. But again, you're dealing with people, so everything won't go your way at first. But as long as you put the effort in and the time, the business is willing to put the effort and the time into you to help you get to where you want to.
Okay, no, brilliant. So I suppose taking all that into account, why did Evolution stand out to you above all the rest?
So it wasn't like other recruitment companies, and that sounds probably a bit cliche, but it wasn't like other companies. Like their whole approach, the way they approached me and stuff, and it was different, and it was kind of evident in the way that they spoke to me about it and through the interviews, etc. It's a very positive place to work, and you don't feel like you're a cog in a big machine. You feel like a key contributor, and I think that's really important because the CAO will just walk over and exactly what you've done, not in a case of our micromanaging, but he'll congratulate you on your achievements, your milestones, and he's always asking, like, he'll just say come over to say hello and see how things are going. Every so often he'll just say it's nice outside on a Thursday. He'll be like, get yourselves off at 4 o'clock, just go early, go and enjoy the sun. You've worked hard, etc. So yeah, he's very approachable, he's very friendly, and he speaks to you on the same level, and he's very inclusive. And I think that helps a lot because that's kind of passed down in terms of other managers below him. It's very much inclusive. It's not a case of a massive hierarchy where they think of you as below them, which is good.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, so I mean, you obviously had an exciting first year, Tom, but what's next for you?
So I'm still progressing, how I want to, and I've still got some levels to move up. But ultimately, the long-term goal is step into management. That's all I've always wanted to do. So yeah, I've got some like leadership development programs that'll be going on June, July, and then obviously progress from there.
Brilliant, fantastic. And I suppose is Kate still in the background there?
I am, yeah.
There we go.
Thank you. That was great, Tom. Thank you so much for that. That was brilliant.
No problem at all.
So in terms of just wrapping up, there's just a couple of bits as well, just to kind of clarify for our students that I think are important. So we talked about at the beginning, this is open to kind of students and graduates who've got any degree background, which is great. So it's open to anybody to apply. It's more about those kind of like those kind of personality skills and interests, isn't it? So I suppose if this is for either of you, but is there a particular type of person you think this role would be really suited to, or anybody that you think it probably wouldn't be suited to as well, just to help people understand if it's right for them?
That's a difficult. That's a difficult
Yeah,
question. I think you've got to be driven. You've really got to be driven. You've got to want to succeed. You got to find something that drives you and what gets you out of bed. You got to you got to be a person that's got goals and wants to kind of progress further. It's not for people that kind of settle for less or are happy
Yeah.
with, but the skills, some of the skills can be learned, but like I think the drive and the willingness to succeed, I don't think that can be learned. The resilience and stuff that they can develop, the confidence you can build, your problem solving ability. You have to be a good communicator as well, definitely a good communicator and a good listener, a very good listener.
Yes. Yeah, you got to know what they want. Yeah.
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 definitely.
Brilliant. Oh, that's lovely. Thank you. And last one from me is, do you need, because I know you're obviously like an IT, you specialise in IT sector, but do you need to know loads about IT or the digital world, or have any digital skills to do the job?
I
Do you want to
Come
take
on,
that
no,
one?
yeah. I mean, we've took people with. No, you don't have to. In short, no.
No.
You kind of get an idea as you're working in the role, and that's kind of speaking to those different IT professionals. but I'd say like 90% of the people that we hire have had no prior experience in it from any like IT background at all. You kind of pick it up as you go, and I'm sure as Tom said, you're constantly learning as well, and you can be in the
Yeah,
job for a couple of years, and you'll speak to someone and you'll learn something new again. So absolutely not, no.
yeah. IT's ever changing, you know. I mean, it helps if you've got a general interest in technology and IT, definitely. I mean, I did IT at school and I did IT A level, and I actually nearly did IT as a degree. So, you know, obviously they saw it might be a good fit. You know, I had that desire, kind of, you know, interest in IT. And it does help, but you don't have to be an IT expert. You know,
Yeah,
you learn as you go along. When you speak to the contractors or the team, and you speak to the clients, you know, they teach you a lot. It does help to do your research when you get in the job, but you learn a lot on the job.
brilliant. Oh, that's
Yeah.
perfect. Thank you for explaining that. That's fab. So I'm just going to as well, I'll share my screen because I know I just want to talk to obviously people who might be interested in applying for some of the opportunities as well. So apologies if you just see yourself there for a second. But for all of our current EHU students and graduates, they're both familiar probably with this page. So this is our kind of vacancy portal here. Where you search for opportunities. So Evolution have got obviously the graduate recruitment consultant opportunities live now on there. So we can see, oh, sorry, we can see here as well. Obviously, there are kind of some set intake dates, but just hit apply. This current window of applications open to the 31st of May, but I know that we tend to review that and it'll probably extend beyond that on a monthly rolling basis, at least until those positions are filled anyway. And then we've also obviously got, you guys have got your careers page as well. So this is careers.evolutionjobs.com. So there are the actual ads on there, but also there's some nice kind of information as well and videos about Evolution and some of the current employees talking on there as well about their experiences. Um, and I suppose just for both of you as well, if anybody watching this has thought, oh, actually, I want to maybe ask a couple of questions before committing to an application, are you happy for the students to get in touch with you? I don't know if you want to
Yeah,
share your email addresses or LinkedIn or anything while you're on the
yeah,
call.
happy to,
Yeah,
happy to
yeah.
share either.
Yeah, happy to share. I actually haven't got it up. I mean, if you could share the graduate support group, my
Yeah,
LinkedIn is
this
actually
one.
on there, Kate. Yeah. So
Brilliant.
if anyone wants to kind of scan the QR codes, yeah, recently launched a graduate program, and this is our graduate support network via LinkedIn. So yeah, scan that and get in contact with me via there. Or again, our numbers are usually at the bottom of our adverts on the pages. So just
Perfect.
happy to give me a call or drop me a message, whichever's easiest.
Brilliant. Oh, that's
Yeah.
lovely. That's great. Yeah. So, just as a reminder for everybody there, that's kind of Evolution's LinkedIn graduate support network page. And as it says on the slide, obviously some good tips on career advice and networking opportunities as well. And you can contact Pagan that way if you have any questions or you just want to chat before actually clicking apply. If you're just not sure and you have a few questions, although I think we've really covered quite a lot in there, which was really, really great. Hopefully, no questions will remain. I think there we go. I'll just stop sharing. Brilliant. So thank you both again so much for all of
No,
your kind of honesty and sharing all of your experiences. Anything else either of you want to mention before we finish the recording?
Um, no, just thanks for having us. Thanks for having us, Kate.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, that's
no, yeah,
absolutely
thank you.
fine.